Hello guys, my name is Amin and welcome to Advanced Microservice Communication. This is part 3 of our microservice journey, and if you didn't watch the previous part, so please go watch it because we are continuing our journey on developing real-world microservice projects. So on previous video we created our project and we added some features to it, and it's time to add the communication to other microservices. So microservice communication is one of the microservice challenges. So if you are not an expert, this is a challenging part for you. So please pay attention and like this video. If you had any question, just ask it on comments and leave a comment for me. Don't forget to like this video and share it with your friends. So let's start. Before we start, I want to talk about what is message. We are using messages on our microservices. There are 3 types of messages: document, event, and command. Event is an action that has been done in our system, and command is action is going to be done in our system. But command might be filled, but event has been done and it cannot be filled. Command mostly works with database, and it might create something, edit something, and delete something. So this is what command is, and let's go to see command communication in our project. So you can use event or command, but if you're professional, you know that you must transforming document that's changed on event and command. So let's talk about command communication. How command works. If you're using CQRS, your actions which works with database, for example, creating something, deleting something, and updating something. These are your commands, and we must know how does it work in our application. So previously I created our command, but we can transforming our commands through the message bus. So let's see how we can do it. So let's go. Okay, we are on the project, we are developing the order service, and we are talking about command. So as you see, we have a create order command, and this command will be executed by endpoint. Our endpoint users will send a request, and based on that request, we are using CQRS, and let me show you. By command dispatcher, which is right here, we are detecting our command handler. This is CQRS, and I don't want to talk about CQRS, but the main subject is command. We have our endpoint will execute this command handler, but we are developing microservices. What will happen if execute some command for other services? For example, customer service want to create some order. We have something named message bus, which all of our microservices are communicating through the message bus. So I think you know what message bus is. I don't want to explain too much. So we want to send some command to other service, for example, from order service to payment service through the message bus. This is how we're going to do it. We are using Xamarin framework, which provides lots of extension and lots of utilities for us and makes our job very, very easy. So first thing that you must do is inject I send message bus and import this namespace on your project. Let me import it and good to go. And let me just name it send message bus, and I need private field right here. Read only I send message bus, and name it send message bus. And let me just ctor F, and good to go. If you want to do Saga or something else, you need this technique. You need to be able to send your command through the message bus. So for using I send message bus, you must install the Xamarin extension message bus abstraction on your project to use I send message bus. When you install that, you can use send message like this, send message dot send message bus dot send command to, and define the destination service, command name, and command data. For example, my destination service is payment. I want to use payment service to continue my process. Payment And on here, I have to define my command name. So my command name is excellent. Create payment command. Create payment command. Payment. Come on. Command. And on here, I have to pass my command data, which is a command on your application. So for passing the compiler error, for just ignoring the compiler error, I'm gonna pass command on here. But this is not the right way to do it. What is it? Actually, at the end of the video, I will introduce you to some pattern which helps you a lot. So please watch till the end of the video, and don't forget to like this video and share it with your friends and leave a comment and ask your question about this. Okay, this is basically how we can communicate with message bus on Xamarin framework. Let's continue with events. What is events? In microservice architecture, events are important mechanism for representing an action that have been taken places within a system. The events can include things like user registrations, orders being placed, or payments being processed. Events are crucial and facilitating communication and important part between two different microservices. When an event occurs in one microservice, it can trigger action on other microservice, allowing for distributing, losing, and coupling system. One common way of implementing events is through the use of the message broker like RabbitMQ or Kafka. Events will publish to the message broker, which delivers them to related services that have been subscribed them. So what does it mean? Let me make it simple for you. When some action has been done in your system, for example, an order has been created or payment has been processed, it will trigger some events on your system. It must trigger some events on your system to allowing other service to know that that process, that business has been done. And they are allowed to continue with more following business. For example, when your payments has been processed, your shipping service, some event handler must be triggered on shipping service to deliver your order to your client. But doing this in monolith application is very easy. But on distributed application, your business is distributed and you don't have access to your code from other service. So you must communicate it on network or something else. Somehow that services are not dependent, and events is one of them. Events allow you to let the other services know that business has been done on other service. Let's continue our job and let's implement our events on microservice. Let's implement the events on our project. So let me just delete this I send message to. So I've told you before that we're gonna implement the events on advanced microservice communication, which is this video. So let's go and do it. On orders, go to orders entity, go to your aggregate. First thing that I have to tell you, aggregates works with events. Your aggregates can manage the events. So if you go to aggregate roots right here, go to the source code of Xamarin, you will see there is some field right here which is a type on iDomain events. And there are a couple of methods right here. For example, add events, get events, and clear events. And if you look, you will see that add events is protected. So other services, other classes, other modules, they couldn't add some events to it. So this is very important. When you're changing a state on your system, for example, you are creating some entities on your aggregate, or a state has been changed on your system. For example, your order has been finalized or your order has been updated. These behaviors change your aggregate state. So you must trigger some events each time that your set of aggregate and entities has been changed on your system. So this is very, very important. But the get events and clear events are public because Xamarin is managing them. So just know that it's very important. So it's enough. Let's implement our events. So first thing that you must create events for is your constructor. You must create an event for all of your constructor because creating a state, so you must trigger exactly events. So for adding events, you must define the events classes. So for doing that, first thing you must do is go to your order directory right here and clicking on add directory and add events to it. Events. So on here you have to add the class that you have to name this state that has been done on your system. For example, my order has been created, so it must be order created. It's past. It means it has been done. Events are for past and they have been done on my system. But if you want to do something in future, it's command. And events are done. You cannot do anything about it. It's a state on your system that has been done. So you have to inheritance from something. If you look carefully on aggregate root, you know what it is. What it is. Think about it. Okay? Did you? You know? Do you know what it is? Tell me. It's domain events. Exactly. Domain events. So on each domain event that you are developing, you can pass some documents to it. I told you before, we have 3 types of message on our system: document, event, and command. This is an event. It's better to append some document to it to let the other services know what has been done in our system, what fields they had been changed in our system. So it's very easy. When I'm creating something, I'm adding all of my properties. So where is my properties? Right here. My suggestion is to bring property region up there. It's better. So let me just paste this. And one thing, I have to tell you something. Your method, your properties on events must be only set. You cannot do it private set and this one set. And you cannot use value object on your events because you are exposing your domain state, your domain architecture to other services, which is very, very bad. You are letting the other services know what your business. They must be independent and they must work without knowing other business. So this is a part that if you use a value object, you are doomed. So don't do that. So what thing you want to do is use UID for this one. And don't forget to put it on set. So next thing, you must use constructor for it. Citor as Citor-P to create my constructor. And you're done. I don't have anything for my events anymore. So one thing that you can do is put them on a region. It's make it cleaner. I love it. So, but I'm too lazy for doing that right now. So do it if you want it. And I suggest you to do that because you make your code cleaner. So this is it. We defined our order created event. So it's time to use it. On here, we have to use add events method. Remember, add events method, which we cite on aggregate root. So it's time to create instance of order created and just pass all the constructor arguments to it. But before that, I forgot to define my ID for it. I forgot to define my business ID property for it. Business ID, which I told you before, we are using business ID as main key on our system. So this, and we are done. I forgot to add constructor for it. Citor-P. And let's back to here. So I have to add my business ID value. Business ID is an entity, so you have access to it. And it's UID basically. It's better to use UID on big scale systems. So customer ID, I have it. So let's pass it to this customer ID value and dates time, created dates, created at. So I have to pass created at property right here, created at, and we are done. Ladies and gentlemen, congratulations. We just defined our first event and it was just like this. So this is our first event that we defined on our application. So what? Oh, I've made some mistake. I'm really sorry. I put order created on add order line, which is not correct. I have to put it on constructor. I'm very, very sorry. So just know that your constructor is one state. So you must raise some event each time that your constructor has been invoked. So let's go to other method that changes our state. Add order line. It creates some order line for us. So I'm gonna add class name order line created. And inherited from iDomain. What? iDomain event. So it's time to put our properties to it. So let's go to properties and copy all this order line created and paste it and change all the value object type to normal type. UID. Okay, and the price, I think it's decimal. And quantity int, it's okay. And I don't need order for this one. So all of these must be set, only set, and I'm done. And it's time to create. I missed prop UID business ID. UID business ID. Business ID, man, come on. So it's time for constructor, Sitor P, and we are done. I love ReSharper. So it's time for back on order and add events right here. Add events, new order line created. And I have to pass order line dot business ID. I have to pass order line dot. Let me just do something and go on. No, I cannot do that. I need product ID, and too lazy. Oh, I missed the value. I missed value and order line dot order ID dot value. Don't forget about value. Never. The order line dot price. That's price, not that. Price dot value and order line dot quantity, and we are done. Congratulations, you've created your second event, and it's basically it. So let me tell you again, all the state that changes your aggregate root and its entities must raise some events. So good to go. And you can use these events to do some event sourcing instead of normal way. So, okay, what else should I do? Nothing. You're done. Rest of your code will be taken care of by Zamin, and you're done. Just this and you're done. You're done raising your events, and by just defining your events on your application. You just define which method should raise an event and you're done. Rest of your code will be handled by Zamin and you're done. So you're done. Just this and your events will be taken care of. But one thing that I should tell you about is on receiving service. For example, your shipping service or your payment service. You want to subscribe order finalized events. They want to subscribe that events. What should you do? Let me tell you what should you do on Zamin. Go to your hosting extension and on app services receiving events from message bus, just uncomment this, and on the first parameter just pass your destination service that will raise events for you. For example, you are on payment service and you want to subscribe events from order service, and you just pass order service on here, and next you must pass the events that you want to subscribe, and this is order, for example, finalized or created. For example, I want to do created. Okay, you are on payment service, and on your payment service, if you want to receive events from order service, this is what should you do. Just define your service here, just pass your service name, service ID here, and your events that you must receive, and done. This is what you should do. So this is actually an example. You should not do it on your order service. You should do it on your payment service or what services that you need. You're not supposed to do it on your order service. It's very important. Back to our job. So we're done with just all thing about events. No. Actually, there is something else that I must tell you about. How you can handle your events. I can create some other services named customer service, but I'm too lazy for it because it's very time consuming. So instead of that, I'm gonna tell you what you should do on your customer service right on this project. So add your customer if you want to handle some events that has been triggered by other services, this is what you should do. This is what you should do. On your application service, just add your feature name, which is customer. And let me tell you again, you should put this code on your customer service or other service that they must handle your event. So multiple services could handle one event. Again, this customer service and the receiving code that I just showed you, they must be on destination service. So I have to add events directory on my feature events, and done. Okay, and here I have to add my event handler. So what should I do? This is my naming format, order created handler. You can use it for handling my events. So just like this, and you're done. You have to implement domain event handler on this class and just pass your events that you wanna handler. Order created, and I pass my domain event that I defined to my domain event handler, and I just have to implement it. Implement missing, and done. And I don't like event name for it. I just name it EVT. I like it. So, and on here you have to implement your code, implement business logic that you wanna put on your customer service when your order service has been created. What you wanna do on your customer service, and this class must be on your customer service. Again, implement. Let me just implement and done. So Zamin will take care of it. You don't need to do much job for it. So API communication. On this part, I want to tell you about API communication. You cannot use the normal way to request your APIs on microservice. Why? Because your APIs will be dependent on each other, and you don't want that on your microservice, because you will be distributed monolith. So what should we do for that problem? You must use service discovery or API gateway, because if you doing microservice and you have a lot of requests, you must use load balancer. And on load balancer, you will launch your application on different nodes, on different ports, and that's why your application must use this service discovery. And you can implement service discovery your own or be dependent on third-party service discovery. But if you are using third-party service discovery like AWS, Google Cloud, or even Kubernetes, you must think that you are being dependent on third-party on your microservices. So when you lost third-party on your system will be fell down. It's very important to know this. But I use Kubernetes myself. I'm being dependent on third-party, but you have to be careful, and you need powerful DevOps. You need very, very powerful DevOps on your team. So let's back on code. Okay, if you go on contract, you will see that we have customer service right here, which uses API to get some information from customer service, and we have to implement this. So we must implement it on infrastructure. So you must create a new project that communicates with APIs. Let's create order service API project. On here, add new, and order service dot infra dot data dot customer service API. Customer service API. I want to name it like this, and let's create it on infra data, and let me just delete the class one. Okay, let's create customer directory right here and add new directory, name it customers, and it's time to implement our customer service API. So let me just create class name customer service, and done. So you can use some HTTP class that makes your job easier, HTTP helper class that makes your job easier. For example, it provides all the get, post, put, delete method on it, and You can put it on your utilities, on your project. So you can use that class, but I don't want to use that class for my own reason. But you can use it if you want it. You can write some result class, some HTTP client helper class, and make your job easier. And I suggest you to do that, but I don't have a time for it. So let's just implement our customer service right here. Customer service. Oh, I didn't add the dependency. So let's reference our contract project right here. Where is it? Our contract project right here, and done. Customer service. And let's implement the methods that we have to implement. So why don't we use ChatGPT? Let's use ChatGPT to make our job easier, more interesting for you. So I'm going to use the 2023 AI ChatGPT, the best AI ever. And let me just show you how to use that. So I don't want to implement this method myself, so I'm going to use ChatGPT. So please, ChatGPT, implement method for me, please, and paste. Done. Let's see what it will return. So it did implement it, but I don't like it. And I say use API request. It did use API request, but it's not best practice. It can be best practice by using HTTP client factory. So let's tell ChatGPT to use HTTP client factory. Make it best practice by using best practice by using HTTP client factory, and let's see what it will return. Factory, go. So it did it for me, just like this, very easy. So and just paste like this and bring this namespaces up there. We are done. And I have to install this package. So find an NuGet. Okay, let me install it, the 7th version. So install. So it installed, and
Okay, everything is fine, but we cannot use this code. Why? Because we are using microservices. We are developing microservices. And if we use this code, we will be dependent. We have to use cache and service discovery and others. There are many options for using service discovery, such as Amazon service discovery, Google Cloud, and all this stuff. Even you can implement your own service discovery or using third-party service discoveries like Kubernetes or others. So, unfortunately, I don't have access to AWS or Google Cloud, and I cannot run Kubernetes on my laptop right now because I don't have enough resources. So, I have some implementation for Kubernetes and implementation to AWS, but let's ask ChatGPT to implement this and you can use it. So the important part of microservices is this, that you must use service discovery and API gateway.
So let's ask it to implement it on AWS, and let me show you on AWS Cloud Sample. So it's basically simple. You just have to install these packages, and using Amazon Service Discovery, just pass your service name, service ID, and it gives you some instance, and you will use which one that you want to use. This is how basically we use it on AWS. So on this code, this is fine, but we are not using it like this. Cannot send a direct request to our API. So we have to use service discovery to get which instance we want to use, and use AWS implementation, and you will see it's very easy. You use Amazon Cloud and you will install the packages that you need, and easily you will use it. So but don't forget to use cache for your services and use service discovery or API gateway. So you must use service discovery and cache for your APIs. Don't forget that. But there's some other scenario that you can do. What is it? Instead of using the API, you can use what? We can use events to get all of your customer data on your order database, but it must be read-only. You just must use it as read-only. The data is belong to customer service, but you can use it as read-only, just read-only, and sync it with events on your project. So you can bring the customer data to your application, into your order service, but your data must be read-only, and you can sync it with events. This is really, really important. So, okay, Saga. We are talking about advanced microservice communication, and we cannot leave this context without Saga. So, if you don't know about two-phase commit, it means that instead of one transaction on your service, on your each microservices, you do each one local commit and one main commit. That means that both microservices have been successfully commit their transaction, and the process between two services has been done successfully. But I don't like two-phase commit. Why? Because it makes my services dependent, my microservices dependent, and I lose availability if I use two-phase commit. But Saga, on the other hand, it's not like that. You can use async communication between your microservices, and it's one of the good things about Saga. But it doesn't mean that you shouldn't use two-phase commit. Actually, it means that you must be careful how and where do you use two-phase commit. Why? So, where should I use two-phase commit? I said that it affects on your availability on your microservices, but there's something more important than availability. What? On some businesses, your data security. If you have some financial transaction, you cannot use Saga and accept a delay between these events and microservices to be synced. You must ensure that both services do it real time. So, it's when you use two-phase commit. So if you don't know about Saga pattern, please, if you want to be professional on microservice, go and search for it. It mostly uses events and command to complete transaction between microservices. If you have some abundant context that on somewhere on your microservices they are dependent on each other, for example, on your order service and customer service, there are some parts that they are dependent. So you cannot just do normal commit. You must ensure that both of the services confirm that transaction. So you must split them using Saga. So I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please like this video and share it with your friends, and don't forget leave a comment and say what do you think about this video, and do you think these topics were good for you? Leave a comment, share it with your friends, and don't forget like and subscribe my YouTube channel. So